All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to open the April 7th, 2015 Planning Board meeting. It's being recorded by our Director, Robin McDonald, and for LCAP Proposal Homes. Is there anybody else here recording it? All right, seeing none, we're going to move ahead. First up, we have a site plan review for LaPlante Construction, 61 North Main Street.
The planning board will hold a public...
Go ahead, sorry, Tyler.
That's fine. The planning board will hold a public hearing in the meeting room, East Long Meadow, Massachusetts, on Tuesday, April 7th, 2015, at 6 o'clock in the hearing room, 60 Center Square, on the application for site plan review filed by R.E. LaPlante Construction Incorporated to construct 2,100 square foot bank building and a 3,900 square foot office building on the property located at 61 North Main Street. Information relating to this application is on file with the planning board and available for public review. I have a letter here from GZA Geoenvironmental Inc. To Robin McDonald, dated April 7th. Dear Ms. McDonald, GZA Geoenvironmental Inc. respectfully requests a waiver from Section 7.431 of the Town of East Long Meadow zoning bylaws for the proposed development of 61 North Main Street. Section 7.431 addresses the parameters for a traffic study. The proposed project includes a 2,015 square foot bank building and a 3,920 square foot office building with associated off-street parking. The expected traffic flow patterns for the proposed project are minimal and, in GZA's opinion, do not warrant a detailed study. In general, the traffic flow patterns are: number one, in and out at the North Main Street entrance, egress south of the proposed bank building, and two, out only at the North Main Street one-way egress north of the proposed bank building. This egress will service the drive-up bank teller lane and drive-up ATM lane. GZA referenced the Institute of Transportation Engineers Trip Generation Manual 6th edition and determined that the resulting traffic impact for the proposed use of the site of approximately 580 new vehicle trips per average weekday, for comparison proposed to 2006 traffic study of Route 83 north of Dearborn Street conducted by the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission yielded average daily traffic total approximately 19,500 vehicles. Using this study and understanding that the study's age unlikely underestimates present-day traffic volume at North Main Street, a conservative estimate of anticipated increase in traffic due to the proposed development on 61 North Main Street is calculated to be less than 3%. Considering the minimal traffic generation anticipated from the proposed project, GZA feels that a waiver from the town traffic study requirements is warranted. Please feel free to contact this office with any questions. Thank you for your consideration. Very truly yours, Stephen T. D'Ambrosio, project manager. Did I say that right?
Correct.
Thank you. Letter from Board of Public Works to Robin McDonald, dated April 7th, 2015. Please find below a review of the responses from GZA received April 6th to comments submitted by this office to Conservation Commission by email dated April 1st, 2015, followed by the additional new comments. Number one, existing contours on the southeast area, the parking area corner, appear to be incorrect. The plans have been updated to address this issue. Please see the attached revised existing conditions plan and revised grading and drainage plan. Okay. Number two, the stormwater report indicates that 2 test pits were performed on February 23rd, 2015. A review of the test pit logs indicate that no groundwater was observed in the bottom of the pits. However, there is no indication of soil morography, that's a difficult word for me, or whether any high groundwater indicators were seen in the soils. No indicators of mean annual high water were observed in either test pit. Please see attached preliminary drainage design for the proposed bank and office building, 61 North Main Street, East Long Meadow, Mass, dated February 23rd, 2015, by James E. Walsh, PHPE. Thank you for your additional information. Number three, did the licensed soil elevator observe test pits? Yes, James Walsh of Massachusetts Registered Professional Engineers observe the test pits. Okay. Number 4, the subsurface infiltration system detailed on sheet C4 shows that there will be 8-inch minimum of compacted structural fill beneath the paved. However, the typical bituminous concrete paving detail on the same sheet shows a 6-inch base course above the 12-inch sub-base course. Response to detail of their proposed subsurface infiltration system depicts the manufacturer's recommended minimum cover over a high-density polyurethane units. Both subsurfaces infiltration systems number 1 and 2 will be deep enough to allow for full depth of the proposed paving section, i.e. 3-inch bituminous concrete over 6 inches of base course over 12 inches of sub-base course. Okay. Number 5, please provide details on how the infiltration chambers will be inspected and how system failure will be determined. Each subsurface infiltration system will have a minimum of 3 inspection ports, 1 each per row of infiltration units. Standing water should not be disconcerted within the infiltration units 72 hours after the concentration of a rain event up to including the NRCS 100-year 24-hour storm. In the event of a total subsurface infiltration system failure, water would likely pond around the catch basin, CB number 4, which has a rim elevation of 99.5 during the least frequent high-intensity storms. NRCS 50-year and 100-year 24-hour storm events. Question would suggest that standing water observed in either basin 72 hours after any sized rain event would indicate of basin failure required remedial action. Number 6, please provide a maintenance schedule for the sediment removal from the deep sump catch basins, inlet structures, and infiltration chambers, if applicable. A long-term pollution prevention plan is attached. Thank you. Number 7, the proposed location of the dumpster is in an area where the greatest depth of fill is proposed. This area has a potential for the largest site sediment. Consider an additional catch basin in this location, or be sure to compact very carefully during construction to ensure positive drainage from the area to prevent any further puddling, icing issues. The following note has been added to the grading plan. All fill shall be free drain granular material placed and compact in a controlled manner. Maximum lift equals 12-inch loose compacted to a minimum of 95% modified protractor. Thank you. Number 8, state wetlands mapping shows a possible wetland area west of Pisonic Brook. GZA wetland scientists visited the site on December 4th, 2014, investigated the area in question and found no evidence to support that there are no support that qualifies the area as a regulated wetland. GZA again visited the site on March 30th and verified our initial finding that the area in question does not qualify as a regular wetland. GZA provided supporting documentation to the Conservation Commission on April 1st, 2015. Okay. New comments. A. 2 test boring pits where infiltration area at the minimum are normally recommended. Would recommended confirmation by inspection that soils in the area of proposed basins are similar to those in test pits to confirm design infiltration rate. B. Recommended stormwater system inspections be required in accordance with East Long Meadow rules and regulations for the management of stormwater dated January 2012. C. Recommend wall be constructed with footing below frost line, encased gravel material with weep drain with to avoid any potential parking area heaving. D. Consider additional erosion controls, check dams, erosion control blanket, or bonded fiber matrix in the north and south drainage swales, especially on a 3-to-1 slope on the east end of the site. I don't know if this is a memo or a letter. It's okay, a letter from the fire department dated April 6, 2015, regarding 61 North Main Street. The East Long Meadow Fire Department will require the filing of the owners for the proposed building located at 61 North Main Street. A fire alarm system will be installed with strobes on the exterior of both properties. A Knox box will be installed on the exterior of the building next to the entry doorway. An address will be placed on both the side and exterior, both the sign and the exterior of both properties visible from the street. Fire extinguishers will be replaced per building code. Mulch of any kind will not be used around the buildings. Clearance around front property will be maintained for movement of fire apparatus. If you should have any questions, feel free to contact me. Thank you, Ben Cote, Inspector of the East Long Meadow Fire Department.
Just do the second sheet. No need to do this.
This one here? Okay. And this is from the police department. This is a letter from the police department, 61 North Main Street, East Long Meadow, applicant R.E. LaPlante Construction. Building number 61 is a bank. So building number 61R is going to be the relocation of R.E. LaPlante business offices into rental spaces. Traffic study, waiver request requested, okay. Very little additional traffic expected due to the business being located at 61 North Main Street. It is recommended that the parking lot be marked with a white line at the entrance delineating an entrance and an exit. Driveway number 2 is an exit only. Lighting, parking lot lighting is planned for and will be attached to the building exterior. Address numbers. It is recommended the building be numbered 61 and 61R, 61R being located behind 61. Knock box. It is recommended that a knock box be placed in both building exteriors for entrance into the building after business hours.
All right. All right, you'd like to give us your name and tell us what you'd like to do?
I think we pretty well know.
Well, for the record.
Yeah, of course.
Good evening, my name is Steve D'Ambrosio. I work as a professional engineer for GCA Geo Environmental. I'm here tonight with Bill LaPlante from LaPlante Construction, and we're here tonight to present plans for 61 North Main Street. I have some new information I'd like to provide the board.
Okay.
Got a new plan set. Those are 4 full-size sheets stamped and signed. These are reduced size sheets.
Thanks.
Make it easier for you guys to review. The first set of plans that we provided, we didn't have a cover sheet. We had the existing conditions plan, but this plan set includes site prep and demo plan, a layout plan, and additional details on the subsurface infiltration system. I'm also providing hard copies of our response to DPW comments, which Mr. Richards, you went over in detail. I'm also providing a hard copy of the traffic study waiver request, and there's information here on the lighting, and I'll go over that as I get into the...
What you're going to put up there, is that going to be representative of this? Just so
A
everybody
portion
in the
of it,
audience
yes,
can see it?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to be using
Yeah, we have any
the existing conditions plan and sheet C4.
Okay.
What I have. Just to let everybody know where 61 North Main Street is. It's about a little less than a quarter of a mile from the Rotary. Brook Street is a couple hundred feet to the north. The property is bound by North Main Street to the west. We have residential properties to the east. This piece right here is zoned commercial, but the remainder of the properties along Brook Street are residential C. To the south, we have the Bay State Rug, which, and Bistro, I think it's called now, it used to be Bentley's Bistro. That property is zoned business. The property is approximately 1.6 acres. Again, it's zoned commercial. And on the cover sheet of the plan set that I provided you, there's two tables. One is the zoning table to the far left. And it goes over the minimum requirements of the zone and what we're providing here in this plan. So I'll just quickly go down that zoning table. The lot area is 1.6 acres. The minimum lot area in commercial zone is 15,000 square feet, so we're well in excess of that. The minimum frontage is 100 feet, and there are 155 feet along Main Street, so the property has the correct frontage. The front setback is 25 feet, and we are, as you'll see in the next plan, we have the bank, which is going to front on North Main Street, is 25 feet away from the town's right-of-way. Side yards, we need to maintain a 25-foot setback from the residential areas. And again, when we get to the next plan, I'll show you that we are 25 feet away. Rear yard, 25 feet, we're providing 233, so we're well in excess of the rear yard. Maximum height in a commercial district is 30 feet. These buildings are proposed to be 27, so we're below the 30 feet requirement. Lot coverage, the building area is only going to be 8.3% of the property. In a commercial zone, you're allowed up to 40% coverage. And lastly, the open space. The minimum open space we can have on the plan is 24 in the commercial, and we're providing in excess of 64%. The existing piece, as it stands now, is pretty much grassed up in the front, but the Bakusik Brook runs in the rear of the property. So from this leading edge, 200 feet out, is riverfront area. There currently is an encroachment from Bentley's Bistro and Bay State Rug on the property. We are going to be removing that parking area and using it to create our driveway for the proposed use. So really from about this 200-foot buffer back is all wooded. So the proposed development, as was discussed in some of the letters that were read a little earlier, is a proposed bank building that will front on North Main Street, and that building is approximately 2,000 square feet. And we're also proposing a 3,900 square foot office building. We're required to provide a minimum of 30 parking spaces. We're showing 30 parking spaces. We're also required to have a minimum of 2 accessible spaces. We're providing an accessible space in front of the office building and in front of the bank building. Both of those spaces will be van accessible and will meet current ADA code. And if you look at that other chart, the parking table on the front cover, the way we calculated the space requirement is 5 spaces per 1,000 square feet of gross floor area. It's only, each of these buildings is a single story, so 1 floor. We have just a little less than 6,000 square feet total. So 6 times 5, 30, that's where we come up with the parking requirements. Each of the stalls meet the minimum dimensional requirements. We have a 24-foot aisle between, or the driveway is 24 feet all the way around. The dimensions are shown on the layout plan. If you'd like to turn to page, I believe it's C3 in your packet. C3. And the parking spaces are all typically 9 by 20, which is the minimum requirement. We are proposing to manage stormwater on site via 4 catch basins. Those catch basins are located in this upper corner here. Here, there's a catch basin and an area drain in here, and then a double catch basin in our low point of the property, which is the back part of the parking lot. These 4 catch basins will drain to 2 subsurface infiltration chambers, and those subsurface infiltration chambers have been sized to capture and infiltrate up to the 100-year, 24-hour storm. There's a high-level overflow that goes from the subsurface infiltration chamber here and connects into the street. We don't expect that to see any flow unless we have a very large storm event, which would be in excess of 100-year, 24-hour storm. Both buildings will have town sewer. We're proposing to connect this office building. I don't know if you can really see that, it's kind of light right here, but we show on our utility plan, which I think is sheet C5 in the set. So the proposed sanitary from this building is going to connect in the back. It's going to loop around the bank building and connect into the bank's connection, and then go into this existing sewer manhole in North Main Street. There'll be separate water for both buildings. We're proposing a water connection. Now, we don't show the actual connections on this plan. We know that the water and gas exist on the western shoulder of North Main Street. That's where we'll be connecting both the gas and the water. As I said, each building will have its own gas connection, its own water connection. We're proposing electric, telecommunications, and cable. We'll be pulling from this utility pole here. We show the conduits running into the buildings. Traffic flow. As was stated in our traffic memo, this here is an in and out. So this is the main entrance into the property. There is a driveway that goes behind the bank. This is a proposed ATM on the outer lane and a drive-up teller on the inner lane. This is one-way only, so there'll be signs along North Main Street directing motorists to not enter here, and there'll be signs directing them that they can come in the front. We're required to have a vegetated screening along the residential lots. I think what's required is a 12.5-foot buffer, and that's what we show on the plan. So our landscape plan details the plants that'll be screening the neighbors from the proposed site. Additionally, the lighting plan, we're proposing wall packs on the buildings. So there won't be any lights within the parking lot, and all of those wall packs have been designed so that the light doesn't shine into the neighbor's yard. It's very similar to what Mr. LaPlante has on his Maple Street property. It lights up the parking lot very well. As you get away from the parking lot, the light is not intrusive into the abutting properties. I think that's it from a presentation standpoint. I'd love to entertain any questions that the board may have.
Well, I'll open up the board and we'll go to the public. Anyone want to start?
Mr. Chairman, what did Conservation do with this last night?
We approved it. There was some comments made by Mark Stinson of the state, and some more made by DPW, but a lot of the answers were provided to us. So we all did a site visit previously, and we all felt comfortable with what we saw, what we heard, and what was presented to us. So from a conservation point of view, there wasn't,
So you voted to issue orders?
Correct.
The order-
Yep, which we are working on.
If I can, the special orders were sent today, and they'll be voted on tomorrow. I mean, signed tomorrow,
Okay.
not voted on, but yeah, everything is.
That was really my only concern. It looks like it's going to be a nice project, and I hope that it looks like we have adequate screening for the folks on the next street over, which I think is vital.
Ralph?
I've got a couple things. First, I'd like to say I attempted to see the plans. This is the first time I've seen them. I'm not pleased with that. I mean, typically we get plans in ahead of time so that I can spend multiple days looking through them. With that being said, the first thing I see is the dumpster. Obviously, your trash truck's going to come in, it's going to pull straight in, grab the dumpster. How's the truck going to get out? Is he going to back up the whole length and then go out the one way?
No. We anticipate, and Mr. LaPlante can speak to this, the property will likely be vacant at the time the trash truck comes in. And he'll be able to come in, pull, back up, and then swing and come back out. I understand your concern. If there were cars parked
Well,
there, it may
I
be a
mean,
little
part of my
difficult.
concern is typically a trash truck obviously wants to come in when there is no one there. knowing that there's neighbors just on the other side of the brook, listening to that backup alarm at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning can be extremely aggravating to
Yeah,
them.
right now, what we do is at, about 7:15, they come, they pick up, because again, where we're located now at 94 Maple Street, we have residential neighbors. So right now, the trash truck comes and has orders to come at 7:15. Nobody occupies our building before 7:15. It's rare if someone's there, and if it is, it's usually one or two of my project managers stopping in to get paperwork and then leaving. Our office opens at 9 o'clock, as does the other offices that are going to be in there. We do know the tenants that are going to be in there, they're financial planners. And then obviously the bank and the bank building. So it's never been an issue in the time we've been on 94 Maple Street. We've never had a complaint from any of the neighbors, and it's very close to the residential neighbors, the dumpster, and we don't anticipate any problems here.
Okay, what's the height of the overflow at the street for the infiltration system?
Okay. The infiltration system, I can go over that a little bit. The invert, the bottom of the chambers, is elevation 94.9. We're proposing in the 100-year storm, so the chamber is about 30 inches tall. There's 6 inches of stone beneath that, and then 6 inches of stone above that. So within that section, in the 100-year storm, the water will go to the top of the 6 inches above the
Right.
chamber underneath. That's at elevation, I believe, 97 plus or minus. The overflow into the street, so at this manhole here, our invert as we head to the street is 98.5. So we're not anticipating, I mean, we have quite a bit of freeboard before it gets up to where it would head into the town system.
And what's the height of the very back drain?
This rim elevation is 99.5, so it's a foot higher than the overflow that heads towards the town system.
I mean, obviously, part of my concern is if we do end up with a 100-year storm, are you going to have surface water bubbling out of there or going directly down into the wetlands?
No, I don't anticipate that to happen at all. Again, there's a foot difference between the rim elevation here and the invert of the pipe heading out into the town system. So,
And
if
what
there-
size is that pipe?
I think we're calling out 12 inches.
12 inch, okay. Under the dumpster, on the back side of the parking lot, is there any berm or anything that's going in? Or is it just the parking lot and then slope down?
No, we're keeping a 5-foot buffer, 5-foot landscaped area. Looking to keep that.
Yeah,
as
but I'm
lawn.
talking on
And that's
that
at,
asphalt itself. Is there a
oh.
small concrete berm or anything?
Yes, there's a curb. Yes, there's a curb in the backside. There'll be a bituminous curb on the backside. There'll be a bituminous curb back behind the dumpster. And it doesn't just go right from the curb straight at 3 to 1 in the back. There's 5 feet where it's sloped at 5%,
Okay.
and then we go to 3 to 1.
I mean, if it's going around the dumpster, part of my concern would be the water on that side flowing under the dumpster and then building up and just going over and pouring in.
Understood. There's spot grades on our grading plan. The dumpster, the back edge of the dumpster is actually a little higher than what we're proposing along this. Really, the flow pattern, there's a break right here, and water will swing around and head towards this catch basin. We're looking to keep kind of a preferential drainage path along here so that the dumpster will be pitching back this way, not
Okay.
towards the berm, not towards the curb in the back. We're not looking to have water run along that back curb and get around here. We're looking to pitch it back into the driveway and send it to the catch basins.
That's good for right now.
All right, Sandro?
I think the fire department was concerned about mulch around the buildings. Is there anything, I don't see what's gonna be put here around the buildings.
The landscape plan does show some plantings. We
It
can-
shows plantings.
Yeah,
Does
we
it
can,
Say what material is gonna be put around the buildings.
Yeah, we, during our roundtable, we said that we would we would be
Stone.
using crushed stone around the building. And then they also said it would be fine to use mulch in any landscaped areas away from the buildings, which we'll talk to, we'll talk to our neighbors and come up with a plan that's good for everyone.
It's not called out specifically in our
Yeah,
landscape
I
plan.
don't think it said anything. On certain parts, it just on the tree plantings, it does.
Okay.
That's the buffer in the back, which I think is pretty adequate. Some of this stuff's gonna go pretty fast. My other concern was, I mean, Ralph touched base on that, my concern with the dumpster. I see it difficult for a truck backing up in that one spot without making a ton of noise. I don't know if he's gonna make it in 2 shots.
What is the distance between the building and the property line?
Well, we have
Yeah, the distance between that, right there.
This building?
That
Yep,
apex.
that
the
to the
property line here.
Yeah.
Well, this is 20 feet, that's 24, so you got 44. The sidewalk, I believe, is 5 feet, so 49 feet from the building edge to the,
Sidewalk's raised though, isn't it?
Yeah, sidewalks
Correct.
raised.
So they're not gonna drive over the sidewalk, so.
well, if we're concerned about the
Yeah.
vehicle backing up, I mean, the back of it should be above the 6-inch curb if it really needed that much
Right.
space. But I think, I'm very confident that it'll be
We can
able to
do it.
back up and go.
I mean, they have test circles and stuff like that. Did we put one to it and see if that size truck? would-
I have not, no. But just my experience with similar layouts, we've had success in getting the vehicles to back up.
Conservation was touched upon, okay, I'm good.
I think I'm good. I'm looking at the dumpster issue you're talking about. We've got 12 feet plus another 20 feet, so you get 32 feet, not including the drive lane. I mean, yeah, it's tight, but, I mean, it certainly seems comfortable. I mean, we're not talking about an 80-foot tractor trailer, I mean, just,
No, they're pretty good size.
yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Question with the screening is going, are you planning on putting a fence there? Just, I'm more curious than anything.
I haven't planned on that
Okay.
yet at this point. It's something that we certainly will consider.
Okay. Well, I'm not, what's the residential?
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you have it, where the residents' homes are in relationship to that property line. You know what the distance is offhand?
I don't.
I thought it was considerable, if my memory serves me correct.
Yeah, it's pretty long.
I really couldn't speak to that. I don't know.
Because, I mean, you have their back,
Right, I
their
just,
back
Well,
setbacks.
at the front, on North Main Street, the existing building there has a frontage of 126, and the lots get deeper as you go up Brook Street. So and that's zone C?
And
That's
it's-
C.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's 25 feet, so you're
25 foot
25
front
foot for
setback.
the rear yard, yeah.
so it's some considerable distance.
Yeah, that's 12 and a half feet here.
Right.
The buffer.
All right, this time I'm gonna open it up to the public. I'm sorry.
Quick question.
We got one more too.
Where's the snow gonna go? Are we gonna move snow?
There you
That
go.
was my other question.
Because, I know you got the berm there, but it's gonna be really easy for somebody to try to push it down the slope. And that snow shouldn't be going into a wetland if it's been in a parking lot.
Correct. Under a much milder winter than the one that we've had, the snow, they'll be able to push, I mean, there is some availability to push the snow off to the side. It may be difficult and a little cumbersome, but if it's not a large event, there is some storage on site. If we do have something similar to what we had this year, then we'll need to truck that snow off-site, because you're absolutely correct. The resource area, I mean, we can't be pushing snow down the slope and into the riverfront area in the back. This stippled area that's shown here is actually an area of mitigation. We're looking to plant that with native plants to give us some mitigation for the riverfront impact that we have.
That was all I had.
Okay.
Oh, you want to touch that? You go.
2 separate questions. I'm assuming because we just came through, or you just came through conservation, that's why the native plants aren't shown on the slope in the back, or? I mean, you just said that it's gonna be planted, I mean, are we looking blueberry bushes, are we looking white pine trees? I mean,
Actually, I don't know what the native plants are. that are gonna be planted there. I was more on the
That was talked about
landscape
conservation.
architect and
It was, I
in
didn't
the back
remember the
here, and they
species,
get
but it
called
was
out,
talked
but.
Mhm.
It was talked about, but it's not on the
list-
plan.
The list that's been provided to the Conservation Commission details what'll be planted and the amount
Okay.
that's been planted.
Because I know it was brought up at Conservation, I was there. But I didn't ask, in between the native plants, are you planting grass? And is that gonna be maintained, or is it just gonna be a natural,
It's gonna be left to just.
whatever leaves, stuff like that, and any native plants in there then?
Correct.
Okay, so there won't be any maintenance done back there? As far as a weekly mowing or anything?
No,
No, the
no,
intent
Okay.
is to
Yeah.
let it vegetate naturally.
If
And
I may,
then-
one of the things we talked about in conservation is once that area gets disturbed and/or developed, if you will, that's it. There's a finite line. It's done. There's no chance of going back there and changing things or doing anything. And that was part of the conditions of the conservation.
One other question, a wall was mentioned earlier through our clerk, and they said something about 4 feet down for the wall.
Oh,
Well, for
okay.
For
Yes.
Frosty, where's the wall?
Yeah, where's the wall?
Right along.
We're proposing a retaining wall. Thank you for reminding me about that. There's a retaining wall proposed along this edge. We do have a detail on that retaining wall. We could definitely provide additional information to cover what DPW is requesting.
Yeah, okay, I see it.
Is it gonna weep into the parking lot or out of the parking lot?
Well, I think the weep would be underneath.
Out of,
It'd be heading this way. I mean, there'd
Okay.
be, yeah, there'd have to be like
Okay, so
some
that'll be
stone
higher
behind
than
to
the
catch
second.
the water and allow it
Yep.
to weep on that. Because the parking lot is higher
I got you.
than the adjacent property.
There is actually no breakdown of detail of the wall.
Uh,
Concrete sidewalk, walks,
Oh, where's it hiding? I know it's in
I
here.
did see it too.
Right here, isn't it?
wall, chain link fence post.
Yes.
Okay, there it is. Yeah, but that's on top. There's the wall here.
Yeah,
Here's the high, here's the low.
Ralph, on the detail sheet,
Yep,
It's, yeah.
solid concrete wall then. Well, again, this goes back to the reason I like to get plans ahead of time so that I can go through step by step.
Understood.
All right, anybody else want to add anything before I open up to the public? All right, anybody want to speak on or for or against this? And if you want to, please state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Stephen Torres. I live on 87 North Main Street. And I just have one question, the signage, where is it going to be located? What kind is it and how tall is it going to be?
We're still working that out.
Yeah, we don't have the signage at this point. We're actually going to be looking into a special permit down the road to possibly do something different, because based on where the bank is located in the parking and whatnot, to meet the zoning regulations for the signage, there are just a few small spots that we could put the signage. There will be signage on the building itself to meet the town regulations. But the directory sign is something that we'll probably look at, a special permit or a variance to the sign.
Now, whatever signs will have to come back before us to be approved, that's a whole separate approval process as far as, the businesses go. But the direction signs, like he alluded to, will definitely be put in for traffic. But as far as any advertisements, names, or anything like that, they'll all have to come back for approvals.
Yeah, we're working that out now. We're going to be working with our tenants to design that and come back before the board.
All right, anybody else?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Tim Conway, 78 Nottingham Drive. I support this for two reasons. One, it brings in some jobs into the town and also some tax revenue.
Terrific, thank you very much. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
John Romito, I own the property at 21 to 25 North Main Street. And I've known the LaPlante family for a long time, and what they say is what you're gonna get. They're not gonna cut any corners anywhere. It'll be a classy job. It'll look nice.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
It starts 28 Elm Street. Again, It's always a very professional style. It's going to help the tax base. A couple of questions. You brought up the dumpster. You mentioned that the dumpster will be empty 7 a.m. I know in past businesses that was also going to be the case, and when you have a driver that has a chance to get back early, a lot of times 7 a.m. turns into 2:30 a.m. or 3 a.m. If that could be monitored and possibly an alternate site, have it looked at in 6 months to a year to see if that is being adhered to by the driver, and if you could maybe have an alternate site just in case it is causing a problem. Second, the lights look great on the side of the building. Are you going to have parking from the restaurant next door after hours? Because I assume you're not going to be open till midnight.
Correct. I mean,
Will there be, there'll probably be parking. For the residents along Brook Street, you've got the foliage there, the shrubbery. Behind where the parking lot is, you've got about 5 feet before the drop-off. The one thing is, along the brook, the sound really carries. I mean, you can hear someone at Ramito's talking on Brook Street. I mean, that's how the sound carries. Is it possible to increase the shrubbery, because at night you have lights shining across the brook into the neighbors' backyards? Possibly on Brook Street you'll have lights shining into the backyards there. Is it possible, you mentioned possibly a fence or some thick bushes to keep that from happening?
yeah.
That'll-
The light, the design of the lighting
Yeah.
on the building and the wall pack units that we're using
Yeah.
are designed just for that, so that they'll go out from the building with a
That's terrific,
concentrated
yeah.
spread of, 30 to 35 feet, and then it'll diffuse from there. So there won't be any light shining beyond really the
Right.
limits of the parking lot.
Yeah, my concern is just the cars when they're pulling in at night and leaving.
Okay.
So that's just something if you would consider just
Okay.
on the backward. Thank you.
All right. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Therese Torres from 87 North Main Street. And I guess I'm a little concerned about when you exit out, that it's so close to Brook Street. So
I think
you've got-
there's actually a piece of land between this one
Oh,
and
there
Brook Street.
is?
There's a insurance company, I think, in between.
And then it's
Like an
Brook
office
Street.
building.
And then
Right.
Brook Street, yeah. There's quite a bit of distance between that and Brook Street.
Because you always have cars coming out pretty quick on a Brook Street to get onto North Main Street. So if they want to take a left-hand turn, and then you're coming out and trying to go this way to the right, I mean, I just,
There's 150.
About 150 feet or so, give or take.
because you're North Main
but isn't it
Street,
going through
there's
right out
so
in the
much
light?
traffic going
I
down,
agree.
and it's going
Yeah, right
fast.
left.
And that person
Yeah,
coming out
over
of
here's Brook
the
Street.
teller
Is
area
this
is,
right
they
and
want
left
to
or
make a
just right?
right-hand turn, or,
Okay, I thought this is.
and then you've got this other car coming from
Yep.
Brook Street wanting to go that way. I don't know.
The other thing too, the police department is taking a look at
Either way.
this, and they're gonna take a look at all the factors that you just described to us, and they're gonna give us their recommendation based on safety factors. So that was taken into consideration when they kind of gave their approval, if you will. So they're not asking for any extra stop signs or traffic lights or anything like that. The traffic flow that's gonna come in and out of that parking lot is not gonna be a significant impact to where the police department's worried about safety issues. Again, we have to rely on them because they're the safety officers.
Because I could write up a few tickets on.
I'm sure we all could. I'm sure we would all like to at some point. Yes, sir.
Hi, Bill McCarthy, I'm on 9 Brook Street. Question, when you're coming up North Main Street, you go past Brook Street before you see a speed sign,
Okay.
and then all of a sudden it's 35. Well, everybody's probably going 65 by the time they get to that 35. Is there a way to be able to get some sort of a speed limit sign
There is one at the gas station that says 25.
right way back? Okay.
So it should
Good to know.
be 25.
All right, but apparently nobody sees that one, but I mean, somewhere in
Probably not.
between, okay?
All right, well, I think, all right, so we do have one that is there. Probably people are not heeding it, but like a lot of things.
If you read the police logs, they do patrol that area. and
Okay.
They do hand out warnings on that. I've seen that.
Well, perhaps we can get you a job for the day and you can hand out some tickets. It might go over well.
I could rip up a lot of revenue. Yeah, right outside my window.
Okay. Is there anybody else? Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry.
Again, just
Yep.
one other question. I see the location of the buildings and everything. What is the height? How many floors?
27 feet is the height.
Single story.
Single
Single story,
story,
yeah.
okay.
All right. Yes, sir, you got a...
Mark Harrington, 17 Black Dog Lane. I'm in favor of it. I think it's a good opportunity to take a vacant piece of property and turn it into tax revenue for the town.
Terrific, thank you very much. Anybody else? All right, I'll bring it back to the board for further discussion.
And my only thought is relative to Brook Street, we're putting proposing to put deciduous trees there, which means that in the winter, the screening is going to be minimal. And I was wondering if you considered doing a evergreen type tree rather than a deciduous one, so that you have screening year round.
Look at what we have. I thought some of the understory was.
I may have missed it. We haven't really had time to.
Yeah.
I'm seeing magnolia, bayberry, chokeberry, red twig, dogwood, winterberry, deciduous. The only thing there really is the rhododendron and the holly are the only evergreens.
So I'm a bit out of my element here. Our landscape architect is not in attendance, but we can certainly entertain.
Yeah, and I mean,
additional
that's something
planting.
that I would, that I would want.
Well, I think that was kind of relates to my question of fence,
As much
too.
as they would want.
Yeah.
And either there would be, a solid fence in plantings, or, putting in some,
Okay.
something that's going to stay green all year round.
And through the chairman, my only
Certainly.
other comment would be that I know that the signage is going to depend a lot on what bank is going in there, which can change over the years. Just to emphasize that we will want to have issue the sign permit before the sign goes in, because we've seen that on another bank in the center of the circle that came up with a very large and distracting sign.
Yeah.
And then came in for a sign permit. So I hate to see them spend a lot of money on a sign and then have to renegotiate with us.
No, we intend to have something back before the board within a month and a half.
Great.
Well before
Yeah,
the completion.
great.
Anybody else?
Two comments, questions. When you exit your teller window area, it's wide enough for 2 lanes. I'm assuming it is 2 lanes.
Yes.
Is it going to be marked like the right-hand lane, right-hand turn only, left lane, left turn only? Or are you going to be able to, come out of the teller and take a right from the left-hand lane?
That's a very good question. We don't anticipate that there is going to be a lot of, queuing, I think, in this area.
I mean, my concern is if
Certainly,
someone
yeah.
comes around or from the back office building, they come around, they're in the right-hand lane, someone comes through the teller area, is in the left-hand lane, and they're both trying to make a right-hand turn.
If I
Will be an issue.
And I'm,
could comment on, there's 2 banks on Shaker Road, right next to each other, that have a similar setup, where it's exit only, and there are several lanes of tellers. And they're just marked as exit, and it doesn't seem to cause a problem. I'm thinking of Berkshire Bank, and is it Sovereign that's in the
United.
Medical Building?
United.
United, whatever it is. It's the exact same setup. They've got two lanes. And it
I
comes
thought
right
they were
in.
marked with arrows.
I don't think they are. They are, they're hard to see.
No, they're
because-
And
just one way. And we had the discussion with the safety officer that they would be marked as 2 outgoing lanes with signs saying, they are one way, but we didn't get into whether the right-hand side would be a right-hand turn and the left-hand. Certainly, we, defer to
Makes
him
sense.
and how those were marked.
You don't want too much signage, then they ignore
No,
it anyway.
that's one of the things we'll have to take into consideration when we start talking about signs.
Mhm.
And then my only other comment is, I personally would like more time to actually be able to review this in depth. I mean, like I said, we got it, it's placed in front of us, we look at it for 20 minutes and have to make a decision, and I personally am not ready to, half of this I can barely even see as far as the numbers and all. I'd like a chance to look at the full plan, but that's myself.
Anybody else? Sandra, Ty?
I'm good.
All right. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved?
Second.
I'm sorry. Somebody else want to make a comment? Yes, sir.
Just one. On the drive-through
Yes.
piece there, that seems to be the only spot that goes straight through to the abutters. Because you have the two buildings there with the back of the buildings toward where the abutters are on Brook Street. My property seems to be smack in the middle of the drive-through. So if somebody's coming through there at 2 in the morning with to go through the drive-through with their headlights on, I would imagine that my whole house is gonna get lit up like a Christmas tree. So I'm wondering,
It's one way this way. So they'll come in
yep,
and loop
right.
around this way.
right.
They're screening, this is your property here, I believe.
Yes, it
I was
is.
gonna say, it's over
And if
here.
there's big enough trees or a fence or of some,
Oh, yeah, there's a
something
plan
like
for
that,
Something I'll work
that
on
is
you
gonna
and
block it
sure.
off,
Yeah.
fine. That's all that, my concern was that it's, everybody that drives in there has got a full look at my backyard, you know?
Yeah, I think the screening plan, and/or fence and/or the bushes we're talking about is, specifically to try to eliminate, those issues for you.
Okay.
All right?
Mr. Chairman.
Russ?
Hold on. Okay. Yes, sir.
Just further discussion as far as, I know a motion's been made and seconded to close.
Been seconded, yeah.
Motion's been made to close the public hearing. If we close the public hearing and then there's additional changes to the plan as we request, is that going to end up being a problem?
You won't be able to accept anything more.
I
If there's
think,
changes that any of you
I
want,
personally
once
think
you close
that
it,
there
you
should be
can.
changes made, if nothing else, to make some of the shrub work that's in there, evergreens, maybe remove, what are they, maple trees, and make sure pine trees or something like that are put in. I would be more inclined for us to continue this.
That could be a condition of the approval, to change the trees out. I'm not sure whether you would need to see that on a plan, or is that what you want? Because you can do it conditionally.
Right.
We'll work with, certainly we'll work with the planning board and the neighbors. We want to be good neighbors. We want to make sure that they're fully screened. We want to make sure that everybody around us is happy with the plan. That's what we did on 94 Maple, which I think everybody can agree,
Excellent job.
was a nice addition to the town, and that's what we're looking at doing here.
I would be of the opinion that changing the species on the landscape plan would not be a significant alteration to the site plan, and that we could take it as a minor alteration without.
And it could be a condition of
It could be, yeah.
approval that, those are changed, if that's what you want to do, if you want to specify what you want.
Like I said, my only concern is just that I haven't had a chance to review the whole thing.
If I might, Mr. Chairman.
Certainly.
Mr. Page, the changes that we made, we did provide additional information here tonight, but the layout of the buildings have not changed, the layout of the parking lot has not changed since we submitted the plans on the 16th of March. We've provided additional information on the dimensions of the parking. They didn't actually change, we just provided that information a little clearly. If you had taken a scale to it, you would have seen that we met the dimensional requirements. We just tried to provide additional supporting information of what we've already presented back in March. So we had a landscaping plan, we had a drainage plan. Tonight we've come with a utility plan, a layout plan that just gives some more supporting information to what we've already submitted. So
We have a motion to close.
You have a motion to close public hearing. Anybody second it?
I'll second.
Further discussion? I am comfortable with the information I have, and I can't see any substantive changes being required to it, so I am happy with closing the hearing.
All right, so the thing I do want to bring up is DPW asked about test pits in the infiltration areas. Which I'm assuming you guys are well aware of that?
Yes.
They'd like to be there when you do that, so in case the numbers change.
Okay, I didn't realize that, but they're definitely welcome to be in attendance.
It was last minute.
Okay, it was last minute, so they would like to be there if and when you do those, just to make sure
Okay.
what you propose is concurrent with what what works for them as far as their numbers go. So if you guys are agreeable to that,
Yes.
all right. All right, so I do have a motion made and second to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
I do have a motion,
Opposed?
Opposed.
Nay.
I'm sorry, opposed? Sorry, Ralph.
Nay.
All right, that motion carries 4-1. Do I have a motion to approve 61 North Main Street as presented by the applicant?
I'll make a motion to approve it with the condition that the screening be changed to evergreen screening of some kind, and that the request from DPW to be present be a condition also for the test pits.
As well as the police and fire reports.
I'm sorry?
As well as the police and
Right,
fire.
Police and fire recommendations.
Second that?
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
All right, that motion carries 4-1. You're all set.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. We don't lose the changes without Marilyn here?
No.
It was not.
Because she really has a lot of just.
Yeah, I'll have,
There's a couple of
I just provided you
thoughts
with a
that
copy.
have maybe changed a little bit.
Yeah,
It's very minor.
as I
We have signage.
Not sure yet, we're in the process.
What's that? No, not at all. On August 9th. Saturday, 10 a.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. Oh, good. Oh, I'm not in New York Saturday.
Mr. Chairman,
We're gonna take 5.
motion to adjourn for 5 minutes. All in favor? Aye.
Take 5.
5-minute adjournment.
That's right, just say, and just mention the project though.
All right, you ready?
Oh.
All right, we're gonna open back up. It's been brought to our attention that we missed the waiving of the traffic study in approving that waiver site plan for 61 North Main Street. So as a footnote, that we want to make a motion to waive the traffic study in relationship to that.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion?
Further discussion?
I'm just concerned with the traffic study. I believe he said it was 2006, the number of cars and what the increase was.
2006 was the study.
Was the study 19,500 vehicles on North Main Street?
Yeah, I think it was 500.
And 500 and...
Yeah,
90 a week?
It was 3%.
3%.
Yeah.
Of the 2006 number, which is
Right.
probably lower than the current number.
Probably.
And of course, that doesn't take into consideration, some of those vehicles may already be on North Main Street anyway, doing other business.
That's the main thoroughfare.
But assuming worst case is 3%,
And go into Bentley.
using the current numbers, the numbers that were presented.
Yeah.
It's a lot of trips, but I do understand having, a new business in there, you're going to have a lot. In all honesty, probably a bank and an office building is going to be less trips than what a restaurant or something like that would be.
Oh, absolutely.
Restaurant be substantially more.
Yeah, Mike.
And the police felt that way too.
Yeah, the office building is going to be
Very minimal.
9 o'clock in the morning.
9 to 5.
Yeah, this is really a low-impact use compared to alternatives.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think the difference is actually having 2 separate buildings on the same site. It's quite a bit of square footage, quite a bit of people in there. And I do know someone in the audience did mention it.
In all honesty, it's not a lot of square, we're not talking 6,000, we're talking less than 6,000 square feet, which I don't think is, personally, I don't think substantial for 2 businesses.
Well, it even becomes less because there's a lot of duplication of services, since it is 2 buildings, when you get duplication of bathrooms, it's things like that that qualify for square footage, but don't qualify for additional people.
Correct. Right, I mean, what's, for argument's sake, what's a building on Maple Street? That's gonna be 4,000 or 5,000 feet. Just that one building.
It's bigger, yeah.
Yeah, that's, so I don't think 6,000 feet is big by any means,
Okay.
all things considered. All right, so we do have a motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that has been, that's been waived.
Was that 5-0?
Yes.
That's for the name, I'm sorry.
You're not used to it, that's all.
This is the same
I'm
applicant.
still learning.
Both of them, 2 signs for Berkshire Bank.
Do I read both of them?
Yes.
I should have practiced before this evening.
Yes.
A lot of reading. Oh, good stuff. Town of East Long Meadow sign permit application dated March 26, 2015. Business name and address is Berkshire Bank, 72 Shaker Road, East Long Meadow. Business owner name and address is the same. Telephone numbers are listed. Square footage of proposed signs is 50. It is a double-faced sign. Freestanding, yes. Attached to the building, no. Height above the ground is 13 feet. There is no projection from the building. If attached to the building, does sign project over pedestrian way? No. Setback from property line is 10 feet. Distance from nearest side yard is 50 feet. Distance to top of sign above vertical wall is not applicable. It is illuminated. Proposed sign is permanent. Total number of existing signs is 2. Total square footage of the existing signs are 92.5. Total square footage of proposed and existing signs is 127. The applicant is Graphic Impact Signs, Inc., 575 Dalton Avenue, Pittsfield, Mass. Estimated cost of the sign is $6,000, and the sign affidavit is attached. Okay.
Let me see which one we're reading. Is that the building sign?
This is the freestanding sign. And that's the next,
Here's
A and A, these are the same, okay.
Here's
copies
the
of it.
building sign. You can just use the same. And basically what they're doing is they're replacing what they
Want
have.
me to read the building sign too?
No, it's the same thing.
It's the same
Basically,
thing.
it's covered on the application. They're
Except that this
replacing
is
it
giant X.
with that big,
What do the X's represent?
I don't know, that seems kind of funny.
I don't know,
You're going into
it's-
the business and you're a big X.
It's a 10.
A lot of people would probably not get that.
No, what it is, they bill themselves as the exciting bank. I'm not sure I want my bank to be exciting, but that's what they bill themselves
Yeah.
as.
I kind
I don't
of
know.
like to keep a low profile on that stuff.
I
So
don't
what's the
know.
dot in the middle?
Yeah,
I
I
have
just
no
think
idea.
it's-
Oh my God,
I
that's
don't know how they're going to
it?
recognize it. Yeah, it's just, that's going to be the logo. Berkshire Bank is not going to be on the building. It's just going to be a big X.
All right, it meets all the criteria.
So-
Yes, it's just replacing.
That's, yeah, we did the measurement because.
Yes, we did.
Because it looks huge.
Okay, are we putting these individually or collectively?
We can do it collectively.
Okay.
2 signs, 1 property.
Okay. Well, a motion to approve signs as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
That's supposedly an X-Man. That's what it says.
Is that what it says?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's an X-Man.
Very small print.
X-Man?
X-Man.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, illuminate the X-Man icon. Okay.
I wonder how much they paid some expert to come up with that idea.
They don't
A lot.
I bet.
Copyright infringement, X-Man. Like a video game or
Oh.
Kids Stone or something?
Okay, we have another sign permit application, and this is Tranquility Nails and Spa, 628 North Main Street. Business owner's name is Kathy. The property owner's name is Bob. There are no last names. I swear, Kathy and Bob.
I gotta be honest with you, I'm not sure anyone will accept it.
I'm not sure we should
Yeah.
either.
No.
Absolutely.
Actually, I didn't even see that. Who's
Yeah.
signed?
Kathy and Bob.
We talked about this a long time ago, if it's not filled out.
Yeah,
Yes, we
read through
did.
it, maybe it's,
I don't even know who Kathy and Bob are.
Something,
I can't read that either.
No, let's get them to fill it out.
I think we need a complete application.
I don't mind bending the rules, but that's a little bit too much.
That's funny.
And there's, I mean, I know a handful of bombs could be, all right, so.
Oh, yeah, and there's not even an address
Yeah,
on here.
it's not.
Is that Mrs. Kathy and Mr. Bob?
Kathy Bob, I don't know.
Well, why don't we deny it so they can resubmit? Do we deny it?
No,
No,
let's
we don't
just
have to deny
yeah, that way
it.
we don't prejudice it.
She'll just-
Okay.
They'll just have to
Okay.
come back.
Yeah, just we'll get the accurate information and,
Yes,
Represent
sorry
it,
about
no
that, I
prejudice.
never even saw it.
all right, what else do you have for us?
We have a couple of things. You remember Ryan Daly?
I do.
Right. He's still working on the low impact development research project. And he had a couple of questions. I was able to answer two of them. For the stormwater rules and regs, the developer must obtain a permit for any development that disturbs more than an acre. How often does the planning board review projects that disturb more than 1 acre? And I explained to him that usually it's more than an acre, because most of the projects that you approve are commercial or business or industrial, and they need the space for parking, so.
And let me ask a question. George, you know that anything over an acre requires Army Corps of Engineers to, they have the opportunity of being able to look at it, right?
Yeah, I believe they do.
Anything over an acre?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it falls under the stormwater rules and regs. It falls under the state stormwater management as well as the town rules and regs for stormwater management if the Conservation Commission is not involved in it. If Concom is involved in it, then the property doesn't have to go through the stormwater permit through the town.
But doesn't the Army Corps have the right to
They do, but typically,
Review if it's
unless it's really significant,
yeah, they're gonna ignore it probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Or-
yeah, they're so swamped that unless it's really gonna impact an inevitable waterway, they pretty much ignore it.
Okay.
So if I may, just, George, one more
Yeah.
question. For all the years you were on the board, do you ever have to deal with Army Corps of Engineers?
Yeah, a couple of projects we
Okay.
did.
Great Woods,
Great Woods particularly, yeah. Great Woods
Especially the one
was
coming
very
up.
heavily
Oh.
involved with that.
Great
Right.
Woods 12.
Yeah, Great
coming up.
Woods 12.
It's really based in size, and we just haven't had many
Yeah.
projects that have been big enough to have a wetland area of over an acre.
Well, it's not a wetland.
We haven't had many in
It's
quite a
it's
while.
whether the land disturbed is over an acre, not
Right.
wetlands, but.
No, I
but
understand.
inland.
Right.
Initially.
And then there's another state thing called MIPA that kicks in over a certain size, and that typically triggers Corps of Engineers review.
Right.
So the state steps in if the project gets too big, just to make sure the town doesn't get overwhelmed and, you know.
And they
with it.
take years to make their decisions.
Yeah.
They hold
Sometimes.
projects up for a long, long time.
Yeah, it can hold a project for a year or more,
Yeah,
Well,
so,
the last Great Woods, it was 2 years,
yeah, it was.
yeah, long time, so.
Okay,
All right.
next.
The stormwater rules and regs do not specifically mention low-impact development, which you have spoken about before.
Yeah.
And does not specifically mention best management practices, but the design standards attempt to control discharge rates and runoffs in new developments, which you do.
Right.
Does the planning board intend to add on to these standards specifically to mention low-impact development and/or implement best management practices through subdivision rules and regs? Now, you have mentioned it, but you haven't really talked about it, and he would like to know what your thoughts are on that.
Wasn't best management practices included in with our general bylaws and voted in?
Not through subdivision rules and regs, though.
Sure about that?
For low-impact, yeah. There's
Oh, for
no-
low-impact, okay, all
Yeah,
right.
low-impact
All right,
development is not mentioned in our subdivision
Right.
rules and regs.
So do we have,
Personally, I am in favor of that. I understand that there are issues with DPW. I mean, we've been going back and forth on detention basins for decades now.
Right.
Well, that's the next question.
Okay, but the LID replaces detention basins with other types of stormwater management systems, like we're doing on North Main Street here, okay?
Yeah,
Or
underground.
swales or other
Right.
things. But there's been a reluctance on DPW's part to do away with detention basins, even though they don't like the idea that they're not maintained properly. So personally, I would be in favor of it, but we have talked with DPW for at least 2 years about changing the subdivision regs, and nothing has happened, so.
No, I haven't gotten anything from them for their portion of it.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah,
More than 2 years.
Well,
willing to try it again.
I mean, under the subdivision rules and regs, those are the planning board's rules and regulations, of which we generally go to the DPW and ask for their expertise on.
For that one section.
But with all due respect, they are the planning board's rules and regulations.
Yep.
If we so choose to make a change, we can make a change without
Oh, yes.
going to them.
Is that what you want?
I'm
What he's
just-
asking is what your
I
opinion.
would feel comfortable
No, no.
if you change without them.
I understand, but I'm just-
Versus ours.
I think if we started to go forwards, I think at that point they would jump in and give their opinion.
Well, yeah, we still have to be in agreement of the 5 of us to go forward.
What is your personal opinion? This is what he needs to know. Well, your opinion as a member of the board.
I would concur with George.
So, yes. Okay. I mean, he's just looking because, you know, the planning board members are definitely stakeholders, so he's looking to try and work from there.
You know, personally, I don't think I could give an answer. I think I want to discuss it further.
Along with Mike.
Do you want to talk with
I mean,
Ryan?
There's definitely
As
pros and
far-
cons.
Absolutely, but as far as the concept of low-impact development,
If anything, it's all in the details.
right.
And how they're
Exactly.
adhered to
Yeah.
and enforced.
Exactly.
Further discussion.
You know, let's face it, that's probably the biggest problem in town. A lot of things don't get done the way they're supposed to, and then nobody follows up, and then we end up with the problems after the fact. It's like, you know, the county was made the signs are up, and then we get the application. You know, it's one simple, not simple, but one element of that problem. All right, what else is Mr. Daly?
One more person.
I'm sorry, Ty.
No, I agree, but it requires kind of more of a dialogue.
All right, so you're with them. Okay, perfect. And the last question, I will be reaching out to Fire and DPW over the next 2 weeks to hopefully talk to them about their objections and/or thoughts to LID. I understand this was another major concern that George mentioned during our initial meeting. Am I forgetting of, or do you know of any other stakeholders or people who feel strongly, one way or the other, about LID that I should be contacting?
I would think maybe the police department, public safety officer.
But he's got police and fire, right?
No, he's got DPW.
Oh, okay,
and
he's
fire.
missing police.
All right, so number 3 would be police.
With all due respect, the largest stakeholder who is against it, well, other than the town, is builders. It increases the cost, or it's got the potential to increase the cost. And-
Well, I can suggest that he set up a meeting with developers. I mean,
How
this
about
is his
this?
school
I would
project.
suggest that he go to the Western Massachusetts Home Builders Association,
Yeah, it's a great idea.
which is, you know, represents most builders and developers, and
Who's the
can-
Brad
president
Campbell.
this year?
Brad Campbell.
Who?
Brad Campbell,
Brad?
yeah.
That's a name I don't, I mean, Jeff, I'm familiar with.
Brad Campbell is the head of the Home
BRAD.
Builders. Yes.
The other side of the coin is some builders, or a lot of builders, might say, hey, yeah, maybe raise the cost, but it also makes a difference in whether a project's gonna go forward or not.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but it always comes down to the almighty dollar.
Absolutely, because you've talked to them before.
Yeah, if you can do it right and still make money, then it's gonna be more appealing.
Right.
You know, but it's not always not always the best possible case
And
scenario.
it doesn't have to cost more. There's new technologies out there.
Absolutely.
It's more widely being used, costs are coming down. Some of the stuff like putting a swale in instead of a detention basin, so you don't have standing water, okay?
A great idea.
You know, the problem is, how do you fit into the topography and the layout of the development and all that kind of thing? And that's where police and fire get involved. They don't want ditches alongside the road.
And you know, it's funny that you should say that, because I was talking with Dan Murphy today, and that's a pitch that he is going to be giving to DPW, is to go back to drainage ditches along our roads.
Yeah.
To prevent the water from seeping underneath the roads and sitting there and causing the
Right.
frost heaves. I don't know if you've
I mean,
noticed, but
They do that
our
down
roads are
south, they do it
horrible.
up north, I mean, it's done
Yeah,
everywhere.
I
everywhere.
understand that. Just
So
telling you what
it's
I've
funny
heard
that you say that
in the
because we
past
talked about it
Yeah.
today.
from, you know,
We used to have them all over.
You know, the other side of the coin is, you know, all the easy sites are done. I mean, now we're working on
Right.
more complicated sites that requires more attention,
More thought.
and more innovation.
more
Yeah.
planning.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way they could have done 61 North Main Street with a detention basin.
No,
No.
there's just
There's
no
no
room.
room.
There's just no room.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
and Michael Giampietro, who is the VP for Finance and Administrative Services that you met when we were doing the Bay State site. And he sent me an email and he said, hope all is going well in East Long Meadow. One of my colleagues here at Bay Path has a son who is a freshman at Boston College. He's interested in the field of planning and conservation and would like to secure an unpaid internship in the area this summer. No requirement on hours or length of experience. Does your offer such an opportunity?
What would us guys do with him during the day?
Well-
Maybe more you than us.
And I don't have anything for planning, but we've done interns, well, I'm sorry, George Hunt, you're off the conservation. You're on the
Well, I'm still
conservation.
deferring him, but.
Conservation has done interns, if you remember, and I'm still, unfortunately, still trying to get that project for a presentation, that last year, year before last.
2 years ago.
That Tom Florence's son did to mark all the trails,
Because I know Ryan did it with DPW, I think, over the summer.
yes, he did.
Yeah. I guess my concern will be, is there enough, in fact, to, you know, to give this gentleman to piggyback on?
I think that maybe if you brought it up at the next conservation meeting,
Okay.
which is tomorrow night,
Yeah.
I think there's more for conservation. Right now, there's not, I can't think of anything for planning, other than the open space, and we're just starting up that committee.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you think an intern could do for the open space?
I mean, I would think going forwards, a lot of the legwork on it, an intern could do.
So we can have him come in if you want to talk to him and talk with you, Ralph, and whoever you're going to have as vice chair of that committee, and let him know what kind of legwork you want to do if you're interested in that. I mean, that's the project that we're going to be
Yeah.
working on is the open space.
I mean, my only concern is, as we found out from Mr. Florence's son, you can't take a person finishing up freshman year in college and just say, go forth and do over the summer. They need
Right.
supervision. And they need somebody there meeting with them on a regular basis to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do.
Well, I met with him once a week,
Well, I understand that,
but I couldn't go out in the field. I
But,
mean,
you know,
he
it takes
couldn't go out in the field.
oversight. It's not something we can just say, here's your
Right.
project, come back in September.
Right.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. And I don't know that we've, again, got the time or the energy to do that. And I think it would be, if we don't, it would be unfair to him to put him in that position.
Absolutely.
You know?
That's why
He
I
could
would have
maybe
to
find a better,
really,
something someplace else around here.
Yeah, even though the city of Springfield might be better than us.
I would really have to search to figure out something other
Yeah.
than that for
It
planning.
sounds to me that maybe we could do something, but I think we should pass.
Yeah, let me give you another suggestion, Robin. Ask him to contact Tim Brennan at PVPC.
Unfortunately, I told Ryan that, and Ryan was blown off,
Okay, because they do use interns.
because I was very upset that happened,
Yeah.
since we told him to go ahead and contact.
Well, it doesn't hurt to ask, I mean, you know.
I mean, yeah, and maybe you could give Tim a heads up.
Well, I'd call Tim and find out if they are looking for interns, you know, at this
All
point.
right,
in
would
time.
you do that first?
Yeah, I'll do
So that
that.
we don't,
I'll give him a call. I'm gonna see him Thursday, so.
okay, that would be perfect, and if you could find him, then if you'll let me know, then I'll respond.
Yeah.
That's it, unless you
What else you have?
did the minutes of February 10th.
Let's see if we're shaking our head, yes, so.
Okay,
All
well,
right.
do that the next time.
Before we adjourn, does anybody want to add anything on their minds? Except for, good? All right. George, anything?
No.
Sound tight?
I'm good.
Ralph, is there anything like that?
No.
All right.
You sure? Positive.
Do I have a motion to?
Do any of you,
Oh.
I'm sorry, want to attend the lecture that I?
Absolutely not.
No, thank you.
I'm good.
So according to this, beef is gonna be the end of the world.
Just one more thing, the minutes of March 10th. I wasn't here, you guys did 2 seconds worth of.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw those.
Yeah.
Oh, we actually filled a piece of paper.
Motion to approve the minutes of March 10th.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, and, I know.
Yeah, well, last minute stuff.
No, the information that you had requested for the site, there's the
Oh.
maps for
All right,
the,
good. For the town hall?
yes, for Heritage Park as well as, what's that other street,
Not yet.
Sandra, that I did?
Gates Ave.
Yeah, and then those are the bonding figures from
Dearborn.
the accountant.
Right there. No, yeah.
The only thing I would mention on Heritage Park is there is state law, I think it was chapter 41 and chapter 42, or 40 or 41, I'm sorry, that specifically addresses parkland and says that you cannot put buildings on parkland, anything other than, like a gazebo or freshman stand or something, without approval of the legislature.
Well,
The only thing is it's questionable as to whether it's parkland or just
If it was
board
donated for
town property.
recreational purposes.
And because there is that area that is specifically school property.
Right.
So Jim Donahue is trying to give me an answer as to what it's actually designated as.
Okay.
So that
It just- a
won't
heads up.
happen.
I mean, not that you couldn't do
But I mean, it's history. And a lot of people don't pay attention to what the history is, so we need to.
I cut that when I was a kid
The
right
school,
there.
is this for the school?
The white lines are, that's,
This is
The schools?
the school owned.
This is not.
right, that's town property.
This is not.
Okay.
CPC
Dog park is
has,
here.
in this area, community preservation has put forth an article for engineering to take a look at this section of land and to delineate the wetlands, do some borings to see if at all it would be feasible to do any type of fields or anything
Yeah,
up and in there.
I did hear that.
I mean, basically what they're looking at is their ledge up there, is the soils, can it be recontoured for it, can it not be? Because the rec commission was looking to put either 2 or possibly 3 fields, but almost like isolated pod fields.
Is there money available to do it, even
No.
if it could happen?
What,
Not immediately.
what recreation was
Because,
looking
that's a
for
lot of money to make
is
those.
under, after we do the open space and rec plan, then to go for grants, park grants, in order to do some of it.
You need to put it in stuff.
Also,
Yeah, but
we
that's
have
not- that's not
an
hard.
Eagle Scout that's working on doing a,
I didn't. it's not
like a
hard.
I
lean-to
cut that when I was a
facility
kid.
in the
Look at all
dog
branch
park
trees
there,
out
but
there.
he will be coming
Yeah, I was 10
before
years
you,
old.
because I reminded him that
Hauled brush all day
the,
long.
the guy who
The
runs
beginning
the
of
dog
that.
park isn't the person that provides
job.
the
Gotta be
approval
back on
for
it. That's all I
adding
got.
anything to the park, so he will be coming
Yeah,
before
just
you
have
too.
Cars
so.
coming this way.
Because you had mentioned the removal of the dog
Access
park in order to do what you guys were planning on doing.
Potentially.
I mean,
There's a fence that goes all the way around anyway.
there's an existing dirt roadway and all that comes up through here.
That you,
What the rec commission was looking at is you do have a road in here, possibly come up and do a one-way. And again, it's only in the beginning plans. They put forth a warrant article, CPC, look at it, see if it's feasible or not.
And you
Come
can
off
use that information too.
Colorado
I mean,
Street
that
anywhere.
information would
That's
be
exactly.
really good.
Yeah, who cares? Let the traffic go through Springfield. Well, I'm just, that's,
Yeah,
those
but if-
residents are gonna be impacted significantly.
Well, that's why they were, in their mind, they were thinking one way, so that you don't have in and out traffic or anything like that, and the paper streets are already there.
Yeah.
Or you
Colorado
can-
Street's here, County Street's here.
Come back down the hill and connect with this road on the other side.
I'd say make a double road here and make this in and out. you gotta lay here.
But again, it's
a
one of
lot
those
of money
where-
to develop this.
Yeah, it is.
Well, they're,
It's usable.
and again, they want to even know if it's possible because, like I said, they don't know what type of soils are up there. If it's ledge, you're not going to blast away ledge to try and put another field in. Again, the wetlands, we're assuming that this is roughly where they are. I mean, that's all information that's needed. And I believe, if I'm speaking out of turn, George, please say so, I believe the CPC looked at it and said, no matter what, this is information that the town can use in the future.
Yeah.
So whether it ends up working for the rec or not, the town can use the information.
And it's an allowable use of CPC funds because it's for open space and recreation. If somebody else hijacks the information later on, does something else with it, that's, it's public information once it's developed. So there's no problem with that. But there's no sense in them spending money and trying to figure out laying out fields if they don't know what's going to be there. And if you put one field in every 2 or 3 years, depending on what the other demands on CPC funds are and what grants are available, it's a feasible thing to do. If you try to put them all in at once,
You're talking millions.
it's not going to happen.
No.
Right.
Okay.
And I think a new town hall right in here would look beautiful.
I agree.
No.
I agree.
Michael in the back of that are the fire things.
How many acres is all that?
I don't remember.
Considerable.
Quite a few.
It's got to be at least 50.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's,
do the fire training.
that's,
I wanna say.
that's 2 acres right there.
That was one
Yeah.
of the books you got. I keep getting that stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right, well,
Those two.
Yeah, we cut that as
I mean,
kid.
look at all that land that's just sitting there, no tax dollars, nothing.
I think what was amazing, I didn't realize how much land there was there
There's a
until you
lot.
take the map, roll it out and look at it.
There's a
and-
lot.
There's a lot of land.
But it's slope. I mean, it's
Right.
pretty good
Yeah.
up slope.
And there's a lot, I think, that's wet too, so.
yeah,
Well,
well, the builder in me says, got all these lots off, that gives you all the money for the fields.
yeah, that would
Well,
work.
yeah, that's right. You just develop the other side of the street, you're good to go. I mean, you can pay for your park.
I tried that with the pool park, and I was.
How'd that work?
It didn't go real well. In the
Didn't go
ideas,
really well.
It would have worked out perfectly, but
It's
that's
too
another
much
story for
stuff.
another day.
I mean, there's a lot of issues, a long way from going.
Right, start someplace, I agree.
And there's the school street property too, so that was the other property. All right,
All right, is there anything else before we adjourn?
that's it.
All right, do I have a
I'm
mo-
good.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.